So this is basically how I'd start by putting a track together. Normally, I mean, my tracks are always full of melody, so melody is normally the most important thing for me. The whole purpose of this track was kind of, I wanted something a bit different for the album, not a club track, you know, something that kind of a bit more feeling to it. And, you know, I like a lot of hip hop stuff and a lot more down tempo stuff, and that's kind of what the Eagles and Butterflies sound is for a lot of the stuff. It's the melodic down tempo, kind of more experimental stuff, and this track kind of sums everything up for me. So, I mean, I use a lot of real life recordings in my tracks. So I get them from all over the places, whether it be actually recording them or you use them from various different places. Never really from sample packs or things like that for the real life thing. So I mean, it actually starts off with the intro is actually a real life recording of a swing in the park. It's a child on a swing, and then what else have we got? We've got things like door creaks in there. I mean, there's a million different things which I think kind of really gives a track a unique kind of feel and a neat kind of sound. I mean, a lot of the claps in here are made up with things like this one's paper being crushed up, and that's just me recording some paper being crushed up and, you know, putting some effects on it and giving it a bit of bottom end EQ to make it sound a little bit like it's got a little bit of life to it. And then what else have we got in here? I've got things like water splashes. Again, just all these little things just give the track a lot more feeling and a lot more life to it. So the track itself, actually, it's the same as kind of what I do with a lot of tracks. I'll start out with writing the main riff for it. Some of the times I'll use a keyboard to do it, but a lot of the times I'll just come up with something really basic on the keyboard, and then I'll edit in MIDI. So I'll write the chords and then all the melody, and then I'll work a bass line to go with it, and then I don't really do much more than that in terms of the music of the track. What I seem to do is I seem to layer it up, so I don't actually change the musical structure of the melody or anything too often. So I'll write like I said, the melody for it, or the riff, or, you know, one of the main parts of the track, and the bass line. So most of my tracks are full up with arps. I'm kind of obsessed with arps and strings. So this is the main riff. This is the main actual riff for the track. And then you've got the bass line in there. You've got two bass lines in there that work together. So that's the top one to give it a bit more top end. And then you've got the bass line, and then you've got the lower ends in there as well. And for this one, I mean, like I said, I was going for a more of a down tempo kind of feel. So what I did is, instead of putting like a normal, you know, the normal 4/4 drum in there, it kind of I used an old hip hop beat, which is. And that was kind of like the main basis of the track. And then I've got some kind of hip hop style hats in there. An extra little drum loop that I put in. So that's just like a real slow line that gives it a kind of a little bit of a plodding feel. And there's people that kind of know my music or know I kind of use the same vocal sample in each one. I won't really say where it's from, but it's from it's from an 80s pop track, and you'll probably recognise where it's from now. But I kind of use that in every track, and then, to be honest, it's just a case of building the track. I mean, for me, most tracks I don't really spend any more than, you know, maybe 3 or 4 hours on max, and I kind of once I've got a loop together, I literally will just start arranging it. I'll start adding all of the little extra bits to it, like the water drops and the claps and things like that, and then we pretty much just roll with it, to be honest. I mean, you know, the whole kind of basis of this track is just you know, it's a real kind of spacey feel. It's there isn't really too much changes that really. I mean, there's a nice pad that comes in. What else have we got? Hold on a second. Which is a pad that I kind of use for pretty much all of my tracks. I've actually got this pad in. It's from the FF plugin, and it's just a real nice pad. I used it in the title track to the album as well, which is called the Butterfly Effect, and it's just it's just a real nice sounding pad. It's got like a lot of life to it, and it's something that I include in pretty much every track, to be honest. And then the other one, the pluck, is just from, what is it, the CSV80, which is actually probably my favorite plugin. I pretty much use it on oh, sorry, someone's giving me a little Skype there. He's going to have to go. Sorry, Marcus, time to go. Okay, yeah, so the CSV8 is something that I pretty much use in every track. Like I said, I'm pretty much obsessed with ARPs, and this thing I just think is brilliant. With kind of whatever sound you want to get, you can kind of create it from this. And again, if you go to the down here, it's got a compressor on it, which is just basically side chaining it. Just a little EQing. Obviously, with things like that, I'll always take the bottom end of it out, and you know, give it a bit of mid and top end. It's got a bit crusher on it, somewhere wherever the bit crusher's hiding. Just a very slight bit crusher as well, because I find that if you put too much bit crusher on something, it's kind of got that same sound, which, you know, people just, you know, they know it's got that bit crusher on it. The Tremolo, I pretty much use this on absolutely everything as well. I like my tracks to kind of have a lot of dimension about them, so I always put a slow pan on pretty much everything, to be honest. So it just, when you're listening to it in a big environment, it just, you know, it kind of fucks with your head a little bit, which is what we're after. And then it's just, I've just got a little high cut on there as well, which I'll like bring up and slow down through the tracks. In terms of reverbs and that, reverbs are, you know, one of the most important things as well. So this one, I think I've just got just like a normal M-verb or something on there. Let's have a look. It's just on a bus. So where is it? Bus 4. Yeah, so it's just like yeah, it's just a normal M-verb, I think it is. Yeah, and I'll use like things like Space Designers and that kind of stuff. Space Designer is incredible, which is basically a standard Logic plugin. Something really cool. You know, you don't really have to do too much of it. So whether you know a lot about reverbs or you don't, it's something really cool to use. What else have I got in there? It's probably another couple more ARPs. There's always at least a couple of ARPs in every one of my tracks. This is probably one of my favourite tricks to do in the studio. So like I was talking about the Space Designer there, you basically run the ARP through it. So if I take the Space Designer off, that's basically what it sounds like, pretty much dry. It's got a little bit of a reverb on it normally. And what then you do is you mess with the wet and the dry. So this is what gives it the actual, turns it more into like a pad kind of sound. So this is it without it, and that's it with it. And it just, when you add it to the rest of the layers, it just gives it so much more feeling. And so you put the ARP in there, clipper. And then obviously you just bring everything else in, so bass, vocal samples. And that's pretty much like I said, that's pretty much everything in the track, to be honest. I mean, I don't really put, before it goes off to mastering or something like that, if you're going to test it to play out, I use something like the L2, which is a Waves plugin, which I think is incredible. And I sometimes do use it on individual channels as well, but try to keep the compression down on everything, you know, to a minimum. And what else is in there? Let's have a little look. This is probably my favourite pad sound, and again, it's from, I pretty much use this in every track as well. This was in this one and the Butterfly Effect, which is the main track from the album. And this again is from the CSV, which again is my favourite plugin. There's not really a sound you can't get from this thing. So this is just a real massive sounding pad, to be honest. I've not really come across a pad that sounds anything like it. And again, that's pretty much got the same channel strip on as most of them. It's got the Tremolo, it will have a Space Designer, compressor, and then EQ as well. And with a lot of my tracks, I basically don't like it too full on when it kicks in. So as you'll see, when this one builds, it basically drops into pretty much, you know, the drums and the main riff. I don't really like to keep everything going. The only other thing that I used in there, which was yeah, I'm a bit of a spiritual person, and I've came across a voice sample when I was going through, you know, voice quotes and this kind of stuff on a website online, yeah, I'll let you listen to it now. It basically says like, what you think you become, which I thought was real cool. And
all that we are is the result of what we have thought. The mind is everything. What we think, we become.
And again, I like to use these, you know, something that gives your tracks kind of something extra where people are going to remember it, or gives something a little bit more meaning to it. And yeah, I think everything in this track kind of sums up my sound for me. I mean, this was I recorded a marble being dropped. Again, you don't really hear all these things. Splash. What else have we got in here? I've got crackle, which is basically, I don't know if you can hear that, but that's basically a vinyl recording of just a crackle. You know, when you put the needle onto the vinyl, and that plays the whole way through again, just to give it a bit more depth. And then there's a second arp that comes in before the break, and yeah, the whole thing kind of just builds up, and yeah, it drops back into nothing. So I'll let you hear kind of where it's at for them, kind of before it breaks in, really.
All that we are is the result of what we have thought. The mind, everything. What we think, we become.
That's pretty much it. I mean, in terms of automation, automation again is a massive part, especially when when you're doing the kind of atmospheric kind of stuff. You know, you don't want everything playing at the same kind of volume all the way through. So as you can see there, I record a lot of stuff in by hand. So basically, I'll assign the machine to to like some of the parameters, and I'll basically use it as a MIDI controller. So as you can basically see here, this is all done in by, just by hand. Again, it gives it more of a kind of nice live feel. I've got one trick that I use again on a lot of my tracks, which is basically on the master channel. So if you go to the master channel here, I basically put a low cut on, and I use the space designer, so it kind of gives it a nice building feeling, and then kind of just drop it back in as normal. Yeah, and a lot of my tracks I like to put a little outro on there as well. I need to stop doing it a little bit for the DJ tracks, because I thought it was amusing while I was making them, and then I think I made my first bungle when I was playing at Space last year, when I forgot that one of my own, it's like it's an outro, but it's pretty much the same as the intro, comes back in, and it makes the track incredibly hard to mix out. So it's going to give people, they're not going to want to play the tracks as much. And again, like I said, I got bitten by my own trick as well. So for a lot of times I do that. Again, this is for the outro for this one. I just put in kind of a new bell sound, which again is a sound that I use quite a lot. It's just something really nice, a nice eerie little sound. And I think that's kind of really it in a nutshell. I have the same kind of formula for all of my tracks, really. Like, I'll get the groove going, maybe four bar loop or something like that, and then yeah, kind of just roll the track out using the kind of same technique that I've showed you there. And yeah, that's pretty much it, to be honest. So I hope that's give you a good little insight into the way I work. As you can see, one of the most important part of my studio is my candles and my incense sticks, which I get a bit of stick for, but it kind of creates the vibe. And I've got my view here that overlooks kind of the whole of the north side of Ibiza. You've got the little beach down there. You've got all the hills, which is, people listen to my sound and they wonder kind of where I get my influences from. And it's kind of all based on Ibiza, really, and the kind of the view and the surroundings that I'm in. So yeah, I hope that gives you a little insight into the way I work, and yeah, hope that's helped a bit.